If you're a woman over 35 trying to eat healthy, there is a good chance that this has happened to you. You were standing in your kitchen, early 7 a.m., coffee in hand, but yesterday you read that full-fat dairy is great for hormones. So you decide to put butter back on your toast, you have some full-fat yogurt, and you're going to put cream in your coffee. But now your phone goes off, and there's a study saying that animal protein causes heart disease and cancer. So now you are wondering if breakfast is quietly killing you. And if you have ever stood there holding your coffee thinking, how is anyone supposed to even eat these days anymore? You're not the problem, and you're not alone. The noise, the constant noise, is the problem. And today I want to explain why the wellness industry keeps creating that noise and why the real solution has almost nothing to do with finding the perfect diet. You're not missing a piece. You don't have a missing piece. You actually have too many pieces. Maybe this sounds familiar. You try something and it's working for you. You're hitting your goals. But then a new study comes out, a new expert appears, a new food becomes dangerous, and suddenly the thing that you were doing yesterday, now today, is wrong. Yet again. I have sat across from over 1,000 women over the years who have described this exact moment to me. Women who are smart, motivated, disciplined, intelligent, but completely exhausted from doing everything right, but still feeling like they are failing. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jennifer. I've spent the last 15 years as a strength coach, owning a women's weight training gym, and I'm a licensed therapist. And I can tell you with complete certainty that what you are feeling, it's not weakness. It's a nervous system operating in constant uncertainty. Anxious, reactive, overloaded by all the information that we were just never designed to process at this level. The noise, the constant noise, is the real root cause problem. I'm sure you've noticed this pattern. Every few months, there's some new dietary villain. Seed oils, lectins, gluten, dairy, or oxalates, or carrageenan. And then every few months, here comes out a new dietary hero, keto, carnivore, intermittent fasting, high protein, or no, now it's not high protein, now it's too much protein. And every trend arrives with urgency. And urgency creates fear, and fear then creates FOMO. And suddenly you are wondering if the thing you ate yesterday is quietly destroying your health. Here's the part that they don't tell you. The trend cycle is not designed to give you clarity. It is designed to keep you searching, because a woman who has found her answer is no longer a customer. Now, I want to be clear, because I'm not anti-diet and I'm not anti-wellness, I'm not anti-medicine. It is completely okay to want to lose weight. It is completely okay to want to gain weight. It is completely okay to decide that you don't want to change your body at all. All of that is totally okay. But none of it should come from a place of panic, and none of it should come from a place of fear. And none of it should be driven by the last article you read, or the last Instagram reel you watched, or the last coach who scared you. Your goals should come from you, from clarity, from calm, and from a place that actually feels like your own voice and your own goals. But in order to hear that voice, you actually need some quiet. And it's really hard these days to hear yourself when the noise is constant. That is the difference between being self-led and being trend-led or guru-led, or whatever you want to call it. So here's where this becomes important, because the noise, it's not just confusing you, it is affecting your body. Your brain has one primary job, and it is not weight loss, it's not optimization, it's not biohacking. It is safety. So when health advice keeps changing, when what was healthy yesterday is now dangerous today, your brain reads that uncertainty as a threat, so it becomes vigilant, hyper-aware, second-guessing your every decision. And that vigilance doesn't just stay in your head. It shows up in your body in a tight chest when you eat something off plan that you think was wrong, or guilt and shame that feels wildly out of proportion to eating that piece of bread they say you shouldn't eat, or anxiety after a meal because you are not sure if you made the right choice. That is not a character flaw. That is a nervous system responding to years of conflicting signals, disguised as health advice. And for women over 35, this matters even more. I'm 52, because chronic stress raises cortisol, and when cortisol stays elevated long enough, your hunger hormones stop sending clear signals. You may not actually feel hunger accurately. You may not be able to feel fullness correctly, and your body may start storing more fat, especially in the midsection because of this, which means the stress of trying to eat perfectly can produce the exact result you are trying to avoid. And if nutrition advice has turned eating into a constant mental debate, you are not imagining it. I had a woman walk into our studio last week. Before she even put her bag down, she said, "I have been really good this week." Good. Like eating food was some type of performance review. Like she needed to earn her place via her nutrition quality to be in this room. That's not a nutrition problem. That's a nervous system problem of one that never gets to rest, never gets to relax and trust. So what actually does work? And I know this answer is going to frustrate you because consistency matters more than optimization, always. But the state you are in while you are trying to be consistent, that matters just as much, if not more. Are you calm, or are you constantly anxious and second guessing everything you just ate? A woman who has eaten a moderate, adequate, whole food diet for the past 5 years is metabolically healthier than the woman who has cycled through 8 different types of eating protocols in that same time. Not because her diet is perfect, but simply because her nervous system has been allowed to stabilize. You cannot build metabolic health in a body that is constantly bracing for the next rule change or where the goalpost moves. Stability is not boring. Stability is actually the long-term strategy, and it'll get you where you need to go. So here is what I want you to take away from this video. You do not need more hacks. You need fewer voices and fewer noise. You do not need a better protocol. You need a quieter internal system. You do not need to optimize. You need to stabilize. And you do not need to be led. You need to learn how to listen inside and learn how to lead yourself and become self-led. What would happen if you chose one simple framework? Adequate protein, high fiber, mostly whole foods, minimal to no processed foods, minimal alcohol to no alcohol, and you stayed with that framework for 90 days without pivoting. It doesn't matter to me, and I don't really care whether someone's vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian or carnivore or whatever in between. You have to meet your protein needs, you need to meet your mineral needs, you need to meet your fiber needs, not because it's perfect, but simply because consistency compounds over time. The women in our studio who have truly transformed, it didn't happen in 8 weeks or 90 days, but over 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years. They did not find the perfect diet. They ended up building the capacity to stay consistent with strength training with their foods. They got stronger, they got physically stronger, mentally stronger. They built resilience. They stopped expecting life to get easy, and then their bodies really began to change. They began to change in that order. I am not here to hand you some other meal plan, and I am not here to sell some product or build a wait list. I am simply here to offer women a different lens, one that teaches you that you can be put back in that driver's seat, okay? Not led by a guru, not led by a trend, not led by the next study that drops on a Friday afternoon that dysregulates you. My goal with this channel is to help you learn enough that you never need some other wellness program ever again. So if you want calm, clear, non-trendy information, and I want to learn how to stay curious versus being critical and to start trusting yourself a little more versus the next headline that pops out. Because I think most women have had enough urgency around food for one lifetime. You are not behind, you are not broken, and you are not undisciplined. You are a woman whose nervous system has been living inside all this noise for a very long time. Build something that your nervous system can trust. Everything else will follow from there.